Okay, can you guys hear me? Sweet. Good morning. Whoa. I'm Karen Borchert. This is my first keynote talk I've ever given, so thanks for having me, and thanks very much to the whole Drupal Camp Twin Cities team. This is a really cool room to be in, and just an awesome, obviously an awesome community to be in, and I'm excited to be here. This was the name of my talk, and I got so bored reading the name of my talk that I changed it because I didn't want to bore you. So the idea of this talk is called, Can Open Source Be a Disruptive Force in Social Business Software? But what it is, oops, there we go, really kind of about is this. We call this the Intraportal Collabor-Wikimajigger talk, which is untangling and opening up the collaborative web for business. I got interested in this topic and started thinking about business collaboration software when we started working on Open Atrium 2.0 at Phase 2. And as Drew said, I work on in a product management and product strategy role in our distributions. I'm not a technical person, so I work on the other side of it in terms of who these distributions are for and what they do, and how they can help grow Drupal, grow the community, and be great for our clients as well. So as we started working on Open Atrium 2.0, everybody had an opinion about things that needed to do and things that needed to replace and things that needed to integrate with and things that needed to be. And people wanted it to be an intranet and a portal and a collaboration platform and a project management platform and a wiki and a discussion board. And it was, you just scratched the surface and it was suddenly a crazy world of collaboration tools. And what we found as we started talking to more and more of our own clients, of potential clients, of people out in the community, is that this space is a big deal right now. This is a big challenge to almost all of us in some way. So we're going to get into that. I am going to break the first rule of public speaking, which is to not ever caveat your speech with anything about your own lack of qualifications. So I'm going to go ahead and break that rule right now. I need you to know two things about me. The first is that 19 days ago this happened. This is my son. Oh, thanks, guys. This is my new son, Campbell Cook Borchert, and we call him Camp, and Drew thinks we named him after the camp. And there are two things about that. First of all, to the gentleman last night at the opening reception who asked my mom if he could have the baby's drink ticket, I really like your style. And number two, this definitely means that I have lost my mind over the past few weeks, and I'm probably going to say something dumb. The other thing is that you should know about me is that I'm on a break from all social media right now, so I have completely off of all of the social collaboration tools that I use in my personal and daily life, as well as I'm off from work right now. So what that means is that I am probably going to say something dumb, and if you tweet about it, how dumb it was, I'll probably never know. So with that, we're going to just move on and get going here. So, all right. I want you to raise your hand if you feel like you have used or participated in any social collaboration tools or social business collaboration tools today. Okay, good. Fair show of hands. So if you've consulted an internal knowledge base today, raise your hand. A wiki, an internal, something that says where you're getting information, where you're going today. It's posted information about what to do here. Grabbed a document off of Google Docs, Alfresco, any document management system? Show of hands. Raise them high. Manage projects or tasks for one of your clients or one of your projects in some kind of collaborative space. Anyone done that today? Anyone have trouble finding something they needed today in their internal collaboration documents? I did. Okay, now everybody close your eyes. Put your hands over your eyes. I can see you do it. Thank you. There you go. And raise your hand if you use SharePoint. Nobody's looking, you're in a safe place. Okay. Okay. You can open your eyes. Guys, that whole section back there totally using SharePoint. You should. Okay, so this is a really, really confusing space, right? So the social collaboration software space has so many different elements, right? There's platforms, there's products, there's a portal, there's asset management, document management, project tracking, wikis, contact management, LDAP, expertise finding friending, social network discussions, microblogs. There's a lot going on here, and with it comes a lot of questions about how to use this space, what kind of space you should use, whether you should go open source or not, what the hell a microblog is. I still don't actually know. What kind of asset management you want to do, and whether you want to be able to collaborate or just manage or just store those assets, and what will work with what we already have, and what will not work with what we already have, and how much do I have to buy here, and things like that. It's a big question for a lot of Drupal developers who are managing and building these solutions for their clients and for themselves. It's a big issue for any organization with more than about 2 people, especially organizations that have multiple chapters, multiple campuses, multiple organizations or brands within the companies. Those kinds of growing and multifaceted organizations are the ones faced with these questions and these problems every day. Ray Wang, who studies this, calls this a dynamic, confusing, and converging market, which I think is a pretty good assessment about it. So I wanted to just kind of seek to dispel it a little bit, and we're going to look at, since we're talking a lot about knowledge management, we're going to talk about the 4 things we want to know today. So we're going to start with knowing what problem you want to solve, and that's sort of the first goal, or what we're going to talk about today. Know what you're looking for in social collaboration tools, know the players in the market, and know your options, especially around open source. So we're going to start on the knowing what problem you want to solve section. Here we go. So what are we asking for of our social collaboration software? What are we really asking it to do for us? The answer probably here is too much, right? We kind of want it to fix a lot of things. So our circles are expanding, and organizations are more dispersed geographically. They're relying more on virtual teams and offices, and they're producing lots and lots and lots of digital content, and for some, lots and lots and lots of PDFs. Social software promises to organize, project manage, and outfit us for full collaboration, right? That's the promise. It's going to fix all of those challenges and all of those problems. So intranets traditionally have had, kind of 5 building blocks: content, communication, activity, collaboration, and culture. Those are sort of the initial 5 things that the concept of an intranet was built with. And so just so we kind of know what we're talking about here, know what we're trying to solve here, those are the things that a traditional intranet had or has. But the social web adds these 2 other elements here. It adds authorship and the ability for anyone to write content, edit content, and participate in that. And then connections, whether it's through sharing or friending, or collaborative spaces, and even some information security, creating those connections between that content and between all of those different pieces of an intranet has become part of what's available with the social web. So combined, we see intranets, but we also see portals, asset management, wikis, and social collaboration. And again, that's asking on quite a lot of our social collaboration software. The right solution here, what most of us are really looking for is a solution that unlocks the knowledge that sits in the brains of our organization's employees, right? So if your organization is seeking a collaboration tool or a collaboration project, what you're usually looking for is to say, okay, how do we get all that you know and all that these guys are working on and all that that all of our customers want to talk about in an online forum? How do we get that information into a common place and unlock that knowledge that sits in those organizations' brains? The really bad news is that about 80% of social business efforts fail initially in terms of internal business efforts to create social collaboration and business collaboration tools. What's really behind that, and what's really behind that failure, is that there are some kind of hidden requirements that while we're saying, yeah, we want to unlock the knowledge in our employees' brains, what's really happening is we want to escape our inboxes that are overfull and overflowing and getting worse. Except for mine, which is at inbox 0, and I'm really proud of that. There's a dream of serendipitous connections and ideas emerging. Like there's this idea that if we just have the best intranet or the best collaboration portal all of these amazing ideas are just going to start bursting forth from our organization, right? I hope that a good tool will create a good culture. The idea that if we just have a cool online water cooler place, this is going to become a cool place to be. And that creating the culture that you want will happen by your collaboration tool. A belief that with all of this information being centralized and in one place, some super helpful trends will emerge and we will become the blockbuster company or organization of the century. And in some ways, sometimes a need to cover your ass through a public forum happens a little bit here too, in terms of what people are really trying to get the social collaboration tools to do. And that's a lot of why you see some of them not meet those expectations, because that's a pretty lofty set of expectations. So your company's processes and culture must drive the tool, not the other way around. What we always say and what we talk to our clients about is don't ask of your collaboration software what you're not asking of your organization's collaborators, right? So this is kind of knowing what problem you're trying to solve by knowing what you're asking of your actual teams and of your people. Don't build a wiki without a culture where teams can contribute knowledge. If you don't have a culture where you want people editing the documents of your company's processes, then you shouldn't be looking for a wiki. Don't invest in project management software that doesn't follow your project management methodology. That sounds very logical, but is actually a really big challenge. Don't waste time on document management if you don't have document sharing policies. If you haven't figured out how and what and who can share, then don't get all spun up on a document management solution that's the perfect thing until you have that other part figured out. And don't choose a social media for business tool like your Yammer, et cetera, if you don't want your teams posting pictures of cats. It really comes down to this. Your teams can make good use of software. Your software cannot create productive people. These internet or collaboration tools have to follow your organization, not the other way around. And that's why understanding the problem you're trying to solve and with this tool and knowing exactly what you want it to do, having it follow that process will be a much more successful thing once you start diving into this kind of huge pool of options. So speaking of that huge pool of options, let's talk a little bit about knowing what you're looking for. And knowing what you're looking for is really important because it means that you're thinking carefully about what your users value most and not just what vendors offer. Once you scratch the surface and you say, I really could use some collaboration software, you get into a very, very, very quickly a very, very deep pool of options, as most of you have probably already figured out. And knowing and thinking about what your users value most and answering some questions internally will help you get through that very deep pool a little bit more quickly. So adoption is key, right? If you have a collaboration tool that nobody uses and everybody's still hiding and has the dirty little secret of their desktop full of documents and they're not using your document management system, I know you know what I'm talking about. Everybody has it. Everybody has a folder of documents on their desktop that they have not put on the right place on the document management system. I do. So adoption is key. If you really want this to be a tool people are going to use throughout your organization, you have to make it easy to adopt. Usability, organization, and search are the three biggest things that we hear from clients in terms of being keys for early adoption. So they have to be able to find what they need and use what they find. And that's really key for early adoption. The other thing about it is long-term. So long-term adoption and for organizations to keep using these tools, there has to be some level of flexibility that allows them to grow as your organizations grow and as the social web grows. Cost considerations, obviously you can't just keep paying like crazy for these things, for infinity. And integration, so the ability for, if you find, the absolute blockbuster product out there that you really need to be using, the ability to integrate it with your current collaboration system and your collaboration tools is really key. And then there's one more thing, and that's mobile. I really like to use the example of my dad on this one. My dad is an extraordinary proponent of SharePoint. He's really, really excited about it. And they use it he works for the Nebraska state government, and they use it, and he always asks me, have I showed you my SharePoint site? He's really excited about it. And he said, and every time he says, well, I could show you on my tablet, but the app that we use on iPad, just about every other time crashes the entire thing, and then we have to reinstall the app. And that ability to use these tools on mobile, even for him, even for, no matter what collaboration tools you're using, the ability to use and make good use of these things in a mobile environment is really, really key, and is becoming more important all the time. He also uses Drupal. I just want to be fair. State of Nebraska is now on Drupal. It's pretty exciting. So choosing software isn't all about features and cost. Most clients, think a lot about. Most of our clients think a lot about what those vendors are offering, but forget to ask themselves some important questions. So we ask them for them. So we have 5 kind of important questions that help you know what you're really looking for here. And these are sort of the internal questions that you've got to ask yourself. First of all, governance. Who is going to own and manage this software, even as policies and procedures adapt and change? Just because it's the person who made the decision on the software or on the collaboration tool doesn't mean that that's the person that's going to own it in the organization. And knowing who owns it sometimes dictates knowing what kinds of things you can use. Training, who's going to show everyone how to use this and ramp up new users, and are you going to have to pay for that, or are you going to have to do that externally, and is there a large group of people who can help accomplish that? Maintenance, what happens when something isn't working, needs customization, or requires upkeep? Security, security is an access control in internal collaboration tools is probably one of the most key things that we hear. The ability, when you build an external website, the assumption is anybody can see anything on this, right? It's a public-facing site. When you're building internal collaboration tools, that assumption is gone. And there's a very strong need to be able to protect information when you need to. So are we comfortable with the access control and information security? Usability. Can all of our team members, both present and future, easily access and use this software despite any language or accessibility limitations? So if we hire a whole 10 new people and we have needs around accessibility, around languages, around usability, is this tool going to be able to meet the needs not only today but in the future? So basically, this is the sad "you're not a unicorn" slide. You don't have any new problems. There aren't a lot of new problems that an organization comes up with that they say, well, we've got this really big thing. Most of these problems are things that this industry and this space has seen before, and because of that, you're going to find plenty of solutions. The number of solutions out there is not going to be the problem for you. Remember that the problem that you're trying to solve so that you're driving the decision based on true needs and not just on available features, because all of these will have seen a lot of these challenges before and offer a whole host of features and solutions. You can see where I'm going towards the open source piece here. I'm certain. So when you're knowing what you're looking for, it requires you to look beyond what vendors are offering towards what your users value most. Should include considerations for usability and organization, search, flexibility, cost, integration, and mobile, and requires asking yourself about the long-term management of these tools internally, and not just how are you going to get it and how are you going to get it set up now. So now we'll look a little bit at knowing the players. So once you're saying, okay, I've got this problem, I know what problem I'm trying to solve in my organization, I'm going to focus on these couple of things. I know that what I'm looking for is something that has the following security features and I can do the following training with and all of those things. You need to know who's out there and how they kind of all fall in this space. This was the piece of this research that I found to be really, really useful. Partly because every time somebody came to me with well, have you heard about Plone? Do you know about Jive? Do you know about? I was like, oh my gosh, my eyes were glazing over and I couldn't figure out where all of these things fit in. So I'm going to save you about 15 white papers and 11 Gartner reports worth of information and boil it down for you really quick. So there are a few players in this market. There are actually a lot of players in this market. There are a few players in this market on this screen. So you cannot raise your hand and say, And so what about these guys? Because you're right, they're not on here. Some people are not on here. We did a little bit, these are more examples and more of, kind of an understanding of the space. So don't crucify us for not having every single organization on there. So a few different things. There's intranets, right? There's your SharePoints. OpenAtrium is used for this a lot. You've got, kind of all of your intranet players that are an out-of-the-box intranet solution, right? You've got your portals, so you have your stuff that's going to be kind of a potentially public, potentially private, some combination of, kind of the way in to the information in your organization, either for members, for donors, for teachers, for, et cetera. So a lot of portals like Liferay and Plone. You've got your document management options, and these are coming fast and furious. There's Box, there's Dropbox, Alfresco, Microsoft Office, Google Apps, Google Docs, etc. There's your microblogs. Now again, here's that word, microblog. But all of the ways that you can, kind of communicate instantly and in a social fashion, kind of your, it's Facebook for business, it's Twitter for business. So your Yammer, your Salesforce chatter, and then a lot of elements too of Google Apps, Google Talk and Chat. You've got your wikis. So Confluence is obviously a big one, MediaWiki, Twiki, etc. You've got your project management tools, so Basecamp, Atrium you'll see here, Huddle, Thought Farmer, the ability to actually manage online your project from start to finish, all of its tasks, all of its people, all of its stuff are there. And then your social collaboration tools, so your Jive, your MindTouch, the stuff that you are using to create online forums and that kind of thing. So what these guys are offering are a pretty huge set of features. If you boil down the kind of key features or the ones that are most common here, here's what they are. They're mobile, ability to locate, socialize, search, timekeeping and time management, document management, notifications, and identity management, and then news or feeds, voting and polling, calendaring, and discussion. So those are kind of the key things that you're going to see across all of those different players. And there's kind of two ways to look at the field, right? There are a lot of places that say, okay, let's look at asset focus versus communication focus. So an asset focus is focusing on, your document management, asset management, keeping all your stuff in the right places, whereas a communication focus is focusing on discussions and forums and connecting your teams with one another, right? There's also kind of this other way of looking at it, which is platform solutions on one side that are proposing to provide all of your solutions in one great big lovely platter, and then more purpose-built solutions, things that were built to accomplish one specific thing. We actually like looking at it in both directions and looking at it across the board. And since we're in a business school, I can fairly do a 2x2 grid here and not have it be bad. So what you can see is there's a pretty good spread between the asset focus and communication focus, platform versus purpose. And what you'll see is a lot of these products are moving as we go. So things are moving. Some of the biggest players like Google and SharePoint and Alfresco are actually moving towards greater platform solutions. They're building more and more features that make this the one place to go for all of the things that you need. And those who are working in asset stuff, like for instance, Salesforce, was just managing all your sales contacts for a long time, right? That was the main goal. It was an asset-based and purpose-built solution. And now there's Chatter and there's all of these integrations for Salesforce that are pulling it towards a greater communication focus and more of a full platform. So you start to see a lot of these things move in this market. But if this is one way of looking at this market, it's not every way of looking at this market, and it's certainly not an exhaustive list. The elephant in the room that we absolutely have to always talk about is SharePoint. I made a joke earlier, but there's always a little bit of a joke. Oh, geez, they're on SharePoint, but there's a reason that people are on SharePoint. It's a $2 billion market. There's a lot of people on SharePoint. They are investing very heavily in both the asset and communication sides, and they are not going anywhere. It's a really key area here. As Homer Simpson says, SharePoint's kind of the cause and solution to all of life's problems. It's not a Drupal talk without a Homer Simpson quote. So the social, just to kind of summarize, this landscape is increasingly diverse, more and more saturated all the time, has formidable market forces in SharePoint as well as Google and Salesforce, and can drive you completely crazy if you let it. But that kind of gives you a little bit of an understanding of the landscape and where it is. So knowing your options in that huge and diverse landscape is just as important as knowing the players and knowing what you want and what you're trying to get out of it. So to summarize or to review, the space requires organizations to truly know the problems that they're trying to solve and what's out there. And the landscape is dynamic, confusing, and changing, and hard to navigate, but full of promising tools. So what are the options when you're looking at these kind of tools, whether you're looking to build them, buy them, some combination of them, integrate them, et cetera? So the first thing to know is that you need to know that you can build a solution in a lot of different ways, right? There's no best one best way to accomplish any of this, and it's important to note that while we're all here at a Drupal conference and obviously are all pretty big open source proponents. There are a lot of different ways, there are a lot of different tools, and there's a lot of ways to combine them. So one way is not the only way. A couple of common pitfalls to look out for when you're looking at these solutions. One is vendor lock-in. In those questions that you're asking yourself about governance, about training, about customization, about usability, if you're locked in with one vendor, that can be a really big challenge or a really big expense or both. Over customization, a completely custom system that recreates everything that Google Apps does or something like that is probably not in almost anybody's budget and can be really challenging. If you want to know more about those large Drupal projects and what you have to watch out for, you can go talk to Tim and Nicole this afternoon or see their talk. Internal system competition, so the ability for your organization, no matter what, if you say, hey, we're thinking about launching an internal collaboration tool, somebody will say, well, what about this tool I've been using for 5 years? All my stuff is here, and this is how I manage all this stuff. That internal system competition can be a really big challenge and pitfall, and the ability to be very proactive about that is really important up front. And then again, adoption is key. A lack of user buy-in can be a big pitfall too. So what we really believe and why we worked on Open Atrium, why we speak about this stuff, why we study it, is because there's a huge opportunity here for open source. And considering opening up this space offers this really exciting opportunity for Drupal, frankly, and then also for those who are using Drupal and those who are using open source to cut through a lot of the challenges that are here in this space and to do something pretty exciting. So why? If you consider the trends in web content management systems over the last 5 years, commercial and proprietary systems have given way to open source. So this isn't new. It's just that we've seen this on the web CMS side. We've seen this as people are building their public-facing sites, and so it makes a lot of sense that the next step in terms of our internal collaboration tools and our organization portals, forums, and internal collaboration tools would also kind of go the direction of open source as well. And there's kind of five big reasons why. So first, and foremost, I think the ROI is better, right? So if this kind of software can be a really big investment for an organization when you can keep the cost down with a growing and competitive talent pool, avoid your licensing and maintenance fees, and see your software improve through free community contribution or through collaborative community contribution, you're going to see a higher ROI for your money on a tool like this or on these tools. Surprise, open source is more flexible. We promise you don't know everything you need to know about social collaboration software. You don't know everything you need this tool to do. You just can't because the space is moving too fast. So open source allows you to use these tools, study them, change them, and that's important. It can mean the difference between having a useful tool and an outdated one. Their way is not your way. Vendors have really good ideas, but they're not necessarily your ideas. Some of them might be. You might benefit from best practices and from some of those things, but ultimately that's a choice between what can be done and what your users actually need. So the ability, again, to craft a solution that is truly fits the needs of your organization is really a big deal. A glue approach may work better for a lot of organizations that are looking at these kinds of tools. The feature list alone of any of the full catch-all solutions kind of begs the question, can any of these solutions actually be really, really great at all of those things? And an open source solution that can potentially integrate with existing purpose-built solutions can be a great option for some organizations. Rather than trying to find a catch-all. And then innovation matters. This market is changing. Social collaboration software is probably more than almost any other organizational tool you use is subject to the rapidly changing landscape of social media, sharing, collaboration trends, et cetera. The features that all of these big guys are working on today may be outdated by the time they get them released, and there may not be anybody working on the features that you really need right now in those big spaces. Drupal and other open source solutions give you a platform you can extend and customize without fear of that lock-in. They let you build what you need and keep it current. Don't use what you don't need. So here's what's really exciting is once we started delving in and wondering, okay, what are the collaboration tools out there in open source? We just dug as far as Drupal, and that is already a really exciting space. So again, not a comprehensive list. Please feel free to ping me, and I will add your module distribution, et cetera, to the list. But distros and modules, some really great stuff that's coming along. Some of these are more purpose-built, like CRM solutions and wiki solutions. Some of these things are much more platform-based. Some of the distributions and that kind of thing are more collaboration platforms. You'll see, a couple of the big ones. Obviously, Commons. Focus on the communication side rather than maybe as much on the asset side. Social business tools focused on forums and communications based in organic groups and Spark. Obviously, the ability to connect these. This is very much about connecting teams, connecting customers through really excellent communication channels, contributors, et cetera, and through groups. Could be an extraordinarily useful collaboration tool coming out of Drupal and completely open source. Open Atrium, obviously this is the one that's near and dear to my heart because I've helped work on it. Much more focused, not as much on the communication side, but a little bit more on the project management and asset side. It's a collaboration platform with a plugin structure for integration with third-party functionality, uses organic groups and Panoply, and has the ability to integrate with some other things. The ability to have all of your recent activity and all of your project work all built in one place, communications and that kind of discussion and blog capability that we've had, and then I think really importantly the content visibility and information security and access control is really kind of one of the key components of Atrium, as well as the ability to manage your assets and documents in media. So there's going to be more to come, right? These are all just the things that are starting to emerge. Commons and Atrium are both relatively new in their life cycle on Drupal 7, and are really exciting. More distros and modules are cropping up every day, and we're so excited to see what's happening in this market because it does seem like there's such an exciting opportunity for open source to really play a part in what has otherwise been a somewhat confusing and difficult space. The final word on this is that the needs are changing, the features are growing, and the market is transforming really fast. And frankly, that's just what open source does best. So we are eager to see what happens in this space, what integrations occur with the existing tools are out there, and really eager for the community to come forth with even more that they're working on in terms of collaborative tools for business, because it's obviously a strong need of our clients, of your clients, of your and of the community itself. So we think open source has a really great opportunity ahead of it. And that's my talk. I'd love to take questions if that's of use. Nope. Yep, that's it. Yes, sir.
When you're working with an open source product and you have a large group of people that are on a Microsoft product, are you creating portals between them, or are you trying to migrate people onto one or the other?
Sure. Yeah, I'll repeat the question. The question is, if you have people working on other systems, and then you have an open source product, are you trying to get them to migrate over to a new system, or are you trying to connect the two systems together? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. The answer is yes. It depends, but very often, for organizations looking for a completely new solution that will replace, that is an option with some of these open source solutions and these open source tools, and the ability to kind of customize, so that we have seen some migrate completely over. And then there are some who say, listen, we are interested in an open source or a Drupal solution for this component of it, but we're not going to let go of this piece that we're using. We cannot disrupt that system, so it has to integrate there. And we've done that too. So whether we do an integration point or whether we bring people over wholly really depends on the organization needs, and again, what problem they're trying to solve. It's a great question, though. Yeah. Any other questions?
Thanks. You had mentioned that 80% of first-time attempts by businesses failed. Is that because they chose the wrong platform, or because it was the culture didn't fit what they were trying to do, like you were talking about?
Should I repeat the question even? So, okay. So the question, yeah. The question is, of the 80% of first-time social business collaboration efforts fail, is it because their culture wasn't ready for it, or because they chose the wrong platform? Did I get that right? Ish. Yes. The answer again is yes. Both of those things can be elements here. Sometimes a solution, you choose a solution that solves a specific component, a specific part of the problem that you're trying to solve, but then it doesn't solve a whole bunch of other problems. So some efforts fail because of that. Some efforts fail just directly on implementation. It can be the most perfect tool for your organization, but if there is no consideration for governance, for training, for usability, that kind of thing, or it isn't the cultural fit for your organization, it doesn't really matter how perfect the tool is if nobody adopts it. So it fails for both of those reasons, and the best is if it isn't failing for both of those reasons at the same time, but it fails for both reasons. Frederick, yes. Hi, Frederick.
How are you?
Good.
So the one thing that I thought was really good that you said that the technology is moving really fast. And the main question that I struggle with is Open Atrium 2.0 looks beautiful. Drupal Commons 2.0 looks beautiful. It shows a maturing of Drupal 7. So from a business perspective, that's great. And these tools are out there, and it kind of reaffirms the choice of Drupal 7. The nerdy side of me, the technical side, is saying, hey, Drupal 8 is coming out in 2014. Sure. And
soon.
Some of the conversations that happen are, how come the more mature things aren't on the newest thing right away? How do you balance those two when you make the statement, these things are moving fast?
Yeah. Okay, so question is, how do you balance fast-moving social collaboration market with the fact that the most mature, the most robust things on the open source stuff are on Drupal 7 when Drupal 8 is about to come out? It's an awesome question. I think that it's the same question for tools like this as it is for building any other website or any other solution on Drupal, in my opinion. Just because Drupal 8 is out doesn't mean that all of Drupal 8's contributed modules are out. In some ways, Drupal 8 isn't out really, until it's until it's a very high number of the contributed modules that make Drupal 7 work well are out. And that's a challenge that we faced with distributions at phase 2 for a very long time. The second Drupal 7 came out, everybody started asking about Open Publish on Drupal 7. We built Open Public on Drupal 7 before almost any of the modules were ready for prime time in Drupal 7, and ended up doing a lot of stuff that we kind of replaced once Open Public modules were done. I think that the answer really is that Drupal 7 is going to be alive and well for quite a while. It's going to be building, there are still lots of sites running on Drupal 6, right? So, Drupal 7 is going to be alive and well and building really robust tools for a long time. As those things, what I think is really great is that one of the things that's happening in Drupal 7 is that more kind of plug-in based idea with the distributions, such that upgrading a distribution won't be this gargantuan effort that it was from 6 to 7, because the distros on Drupal 7 tend to be lighter weight and smaller anyway, and integrating with specific modules, contributed modules and contributed plugins. So when those contributors update those modules, it'll be a lot easier to update the base of a distribution to 8 than it was from 6 to 7, just because it's a lot smaller. Yep, good question. Any other questions?
Are you actually describing a world where we might start working with 8 modules, not 7?
I'm not describing that. Don't.
I'm just imagining a world where I could start being a little 8-ish.
No, I'm not suggesting that. What I'm suggesting is that the model is more dispersed from 7 to 8 than it was from 6 to 7. The question was whether I'm suggesting that people start using 8-ish modules on 7. And the answer is no. What we found in the distributions is, or at least our experience in the distributions, has been that the 7 build of the distribution is a tiny fraction of what the 6 build was. And the reason for that is because the 6 builds of distributions tended to be these very monolithic, all in, a lot of custom code. Here's this distribution, here, go use this, and it's a publishing site out of the box kind of solutions. What we found and what we geared towards in 7, and I think what a lot of them are, is the idea of a base distro or a base system that then plugs into a lot of different things, so that when it comes time to upgrade it, that effort is dispersed among the people that have the contributed modules that are a part of it, and less about one huge effort to try to update the whole thing. But yeah, I would not propose that, partly because I wouldn't know what I was talking about. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Have you ever recommended an internet solution that wasn't based on OpenAtrium?
Oh, that's a good question. The question is, have we ever recommended an intranet solution not built on OpenAtrium, and if so, what did it look like? Yeah, absolutely. We have absolutely done that. We have seen some custom sites. We have worked, our intranet internally has been on Confluence for several years, partly because Atrium, while it can be an intranet for the right purpose in the right organization, isn't always the best intranet solution, and it actually wasn't the right intranet solution for us. We use it for project management, but weren't using it for intranet. So we've used Confluence. We've done a lot of custom work. We've seen a lot of custom work done. Sometimes the security needs around an intranet are not necessarily, for specific clients, are not necessarily best for a distribution kind of base. So we've seen some custom, some out-of-the-box products, some integrations with out-of-the-box products, and some that kind of glue a couple of things together. But yeah, we definitely don't. It's not a catch-all for us on intranet.